So, I attended the lecture by Kelly Zamudio. She's a professor at Cornell University and also on the chair of molecular biology at UT, University of Texas. At Cornell, she teaches many classes and is the professor of ecology and evolutionary biology. She's also a curator at the Cornell Museum of Vertebrates. So, her main occupation is research. She researches frogs and their reproduction primarily. And in this lecture, which was titled The Effects of Environment or External Stimuli on Frog Reproduction. And so she first studied exposed versus hidden amplexus. And amplexus is the position of a male on top of a female frog to fertilize the eggs as they are laid. And she wanted to see why the differences in why some did it concealed, some exposed. So apparently they found out that going into concealed amplexus leads directly to a reduction in competition for fertilization. So therefore, a reduction in the rate of polyandry, which means the female would have more than one male mate. This means that concealed amplexus allowed for higher reproduction rates, and the females would go from male to male. However, the opposite, in exposed, frogs were more terrestrial, the males, and were less polyandrous, so they would stick to the one female, or the female would stick to one male. She also studied terrestrial versus non-terrestrial reproduction, and so the ones that were on land or terrestrial were typically smaller males. The small testes were correlated to hidden amplexus. However, exposed amplexus reproduction was not correlated to bigger testes. It was more correlated to terrestrialism. And as you move onto land, the male frogs population tend to shrink. Or not the population, the size of each individual frog tended to shrink, being more fit for on land and capable to move. Halfway through her lecture, she pivoted and looked more at pathogens and fungi affecting frog reproduction. So still a focus on how the environment is affecting them, but less on their evolution to those changes. So the main one she talked about was BD. It's a pathogen that affects amphibians. It has a flagellum. It's mobile, and it operates well in moist environments, and so it was very bad for the frogs. It would infect them and inhibit reproduction. And they did a lot of studies. They have not come to a conclusion. She ended her lecture in hoping that this would move us to further look into this and be more aware of the lasting effects of fungi. She went back through the species and went and studied gallons of water in streams to see how far that pathogen reached. So yeah, for me, I thought it was a very interesting presentation. The passion on frogs was very, her passion for frogs was very cool. I think it was cool to relate that to what we've been learning in class about evolution and what leads to that, the 3 steps, and how population can be controlled by external factors or by competitive factors. And I think that was shown between the frog-to-frog competition versus frogs versus pathogens and viruses. So that's how I saw it relating to what we've been learning. Daily life, I think I'll be more attentive of frogs around me. But yeah, very good lecture.